Good morning friends, how are you today? I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Samantha, and for those that have been following me for a while, thank you so much for staying with me, and for new subscribers, you are so very welcome. So the other day we were doing a bookmark, weren't we? We did that bookmark with the daisies, and I said to you at the time, I've got a bag full of scraps and I was going to show you a different way of using those scraps. And the Americans call it crumb piecing or crumbing or crumb quilting or whatever. And as you kind of make up your own rules as you go along with crumb piecing, it's not something you need to sort of be following rules about. So I thought I'd show you my scrap bag first. This is all material that's just been left over from other projects that I just pull pieces out, scraps of pieces like this. And when they're left over from whatever I've been making, I just pop them in here and I think I'll deal with them another day. Now there's some wonderful sewers out there that have different tote bags, and what they will do is, or tote boxes, storage boxes, and what they do is, as they're using certain material, they'll put it in colour coordinated, colour, what would you call it, boxes according to their colours. You know, not the boxes aren't coloured necessarily, but what they'll have is they'll have a load of boxes, and they might all be white, for example, I don't know, and then they'll put, like, they're dealing with red material, so they put all red shades in one, and then they'll put blue shades in another, and so on and so forth. So all their fabric, scrap fabric, is already sorted. Wonderful. I'm not that organised. I kind of just shove everything in a bag and go for it. But then it's time consuming to pull everything out and, you know, use bits and bats that you want to use. But when I said to you the other day, I really do keep the smallest of scraps, you know, like those are 3 pieces or 4 pieces that are all joined together. So you can imagine just how tiny those were. I really do keep my scraps. I'd used this on a scrap project, I think, or it might have been on my quilting project that's still ongoing. And when I cut that off, after sewing it all together, I thought, oh, I can use that. Got these little scrappy pieces. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how I'm going to piece these together and make something new with it. So I will say as well, when I'm doing a project like this, I don't use my white or black cotton. I just think it's a waste, because that's your staple cotton for most projects, and I feel like it's a bit of a waste using white or black, because they are such, you know, your bread and butter really of sewing. So I will use a really wacky colour that I don't particularly like, that there's a chance I'll probably never use it on another project again. And that's what I will do. I will just use like a bright orange colour or a bright green or something that I really don't like. And it just makes that project that you're doing a bit more interesting as well. It adds another kind of dimension to it, if you will. So all I'm going to do is just sew some of these pieces together. I'll put the camera down, obviously, so you can see what I'm doing. And we'll just, I mean, it is going to be another bookmark, but that's not to say you have to make a bookmark, because with, oh, that's like a really thick material, really thick cotton that you would use for making bags and things, and a bit heavy, more heavyweight. So I won't use that for this project. but I do keep pulling out a lot of the same. I will show you, I'll put the camera down. So yeah, I use mad colours of cotton just to get them used up, because a lot of the cotton threads that I've got, the reels of cotton that I've got upstairs in my sewing bag, or stuff that's been left over from my mum's days of sewing. And believe you me, some of the projects that she used to put together in the 80s, I mean, I don't think many of us had a fashion sense in the 80s anyway, but some of those cotton colours, the reels of cotton that I've got left over from my mum, I just think, what were you making with that? So those are the kind of threads I will use up. The threads that I find most distasteful. Yeah, so what I'm going to do today is, as I was saying, sorry, I've distracted myself there. We will make a bookmark like we did the other day. However, that's not to say you've got to make a bookmark, because you can actually make whatever you want with this. You can make it as big as you want. So let's just say you was making a quilt. You would piece together squares like this. You would do your crumb piecing on a square like this, and then you'd put your squares together to make a quilt. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to piece together scraps of material on here. Now, you don't have to use quilt batting or quilt wadding. What you can use is interfacing, which is like a fabric that's a bit of a stiffener like we used in the last bookmark. You can just use that, and you can just iron the pieces on if you want, and then sew over them in like a zigzag fabric, zigzag stitch, and just make it really interesting. I've just used this because it's just scrap left over, and it is a scrap project. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to sew it onto this, and then we'll put a backing on, and then we'll cut it down to the bookmark size that we want. So there really is, I wouldn't say there's many limits to a project like this. I mean, I've made, as you know, the curtains in the kitchen, all out of scrap fabric. Just kept sewing them together and sewing them together till I got the size I wanted, and then just made curtains out of them. And I just kept on going till I got the size I wanted, and then that were it, put them together as curtains. But, you know, the sky's the limit with projects like this. So I'm just finding some pieces that I like. There's a lot of the same, you see, and I'm trying to mix it up a bit. But we shall see. It doesn't really matter what you use. I mean, you could be a bit more colour coordinated if you wanted, and just use certain shades of colours that you think go together well. I'm a bit more scatty than that, where I just don't think about colours and what will suit one another or what will look good together. I just randomly put anything together, and I find it always looks good. It always looks interesting. And like with the curtains I've made, because it's all random and there's nothing that actually goes together, I find every time I look at them I see something else. See, you know, the patterns, see another. Even though I made them, I see them, I hadn't noticed that before. And I just find it more pleasing that way. Now let me get my hand on the back of here, see what I can grab. Let's see what we have in this little lot. So we've got some little bits of fabric like that, and that, and this. And it's such a shame to think scraps like this end up in the bin, and we can make something so beautiful with them. That's what I always think of when I'm making a little scrap project like this. I think, oh, to think that could have been thrown away because somebody thinks it's too small to use. And we've all done it. I know I've done it. I've thrown stuff away and thought, should I really be throwing this away? Oops. Right, so that's a piece of ribbon that I'll probably just use for another project. I did actually do a little project yesterday, very quickly, just on my own. I couldn't really get out of bed yesterday. I was even working from my bed yesterday. I was on the phone to my boss, and he said, "Oh, I'm working from home today. I'm actually in my kitchen." I'm like, "Oh, good, that's lovely." I said, "I'm in bed with my laptop on my little bed tray." And he's like, "Why?" I said, "I've pulled my back out and I cannot walk." And I said, "I can walk, but not much." I said, "I certainly can't sit up in the spare room upstairs where I have my little office." I said, "I'm in bed. I can't bear the pain." So he was like, "You know, are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm only sitting at a computer. I'm fine." That's the joy of working from home, isn't it? Not having to ring in sick because you can't get into the work. So I am blessed in that respect. Right. So we'll kind of show, like I said, I'm going to show you this, but it's not a method. It's just playing with fabric. And you will just put yours together however you want. There is absolutely no right or wrong to doing this. None at all. Let's get this out of the way. So I'll put the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. I may just have to break off and go for my painkillers and come back, but we'll see how we go. So what I'm going to do is, I think you can see that okay, friends. I think you can. I think what I might do is try and just move everything up a little bit so all of this isn't kind of distracting. You can just literally see what I'm doing. I don't want that. That's the sort of like stuff that's too heavy. So this is quite a large piece. So I'll probably, I mean, I've got pinking shears. I didn't really want my pinking shears, but it's fine. I'm just gonna rip that and we'll tear it, we'll cut it at an angle. So I've just cut this little scrap here. So we're gonna, and we don't have to be accurate here, guys. We really don't. So I will just sew that piece on down here to begin with. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I could do with my other little table at the side, couldn't I? Anyway, we will manage. We will manage one way or another. Those will fit in that little drawer there, just out of the way. Oh, that is such a tiny drawer. I don't think it will. No. Anyway, let's just. I didn't think this video through before I started, friends. I just jumped in. Right. I do hope and pray you can see that. Okay. Get my glasses on. So all we're going to do, I mean, you don't even have to do a straight line. You could just do a zigzag. You could do whatever you want. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a straight line, and I'm just moving my needle. I'm moving the width on my sewing machine just to move the needle over to the edge as much as I can. And I think that'll go one more. There we go. Just so you can put your stitches wherever you want. And I don't go back and forth with this. I don't feel the need to. I'm going to stop there actually, because I just feel like this piece is longer than I want it to be. So I'm sorry I knocked the camera then, guys. I'm just going to cut that down there. And then what I'm going to do, I would actually advise you to iron these first, to be honest with you, is then you're going to put right sides together, okay? You're going to put right sides together, and then, because you've just sewn down that seam, you see, just sewn down that seam there, just sewn that line down there. We're going to sew down here, this side now, okay? So we're just going to put it over right sides together, nice sides together. Again, please don't feel you have to be accurate. You really, really don't. I'm using this really burnt orange, rusty orange colour of thread. Lift the needle up, just cut them threads, and then pull that back, okay? So you've got these two together now. All right, and then all you're going to do is literally just keep on going and keep on going as much as you like till you've covered this. And you don't have to go down in straight lines either. You could start going across here if you want. So I'm going, sorry guys, I messed up there. Oh, that doesn't want to go through. I don't know what I was thinking of then, guys, but I do know my sewing machine isn't liking some of this fabric for some reason. So all you're doing now is you'll press that piece down, like so. Now I know it looks a bit scrappy and rubbish at the moment, but it won't do. It'll be good. It will be good. So let's try and get something a bit brighter now, just to a bit more cheery. And you can rip these as much as you want, just to add a bit more, just to lift it a little bit. Let's just cut this down a little bit. And then we'll sew that together. My sewing machine is rocking at the moment because it's on different levels of the table, so I need to sort that out. So there you go. You've got that done. Nothing has to be straight. This is really wonky and I really like that. I like that it's wonky. So we're going to I'm trying to get some like more yellowy colours and stuff. Could put that in, couldn't we? That would look good there. Sort of mixed in maybe. Let's have a look at, this is a much lighter colour just to lift it up a little bit. That's nice, I like that, but I don't want it that wide. So I'm just gonna, let's make some more scraps out of the scraps. So what did we say? Yeah, that's the right side. So we're just gonna sew that. And when you finish, don't worry if there's any loose pieces, because we're gonna top stitch over those seams anyway. So we don't need to worry about that. There'll be a lot of top stitching going on with the orange to make sure it's added more interest, like some zigzag stitches. So what I'll do is I'll go down these seams and do some zigzag stitches down here in the orange that I'm using. And then we can, yeah, I'm going to cut that off, I think. I don't like that. And then if there's a gap, then we can add something else there that'll be a bit more interesting, or we could just zigzag over that, which will be lovely. So let's keep going. Some more scraps. This is quite a big piece, so I'll probably use that for the backing of the bookmark, which we will get to in a minute. So I won't take it. I could take that off though, couldn't I? That'll be okay to take off, or this bit here. This is all I really want anyway. So I'm going to save that and put that to one side for the backing of the bookmark. And I promise you, I will iron these later. I know it looks scrappy now. More scrap for my bin, my scrap bin. A little scrap bag. So I've to put this I love purple and yellow together. I think it looks really nice. So we will do that. And this is one of those projects where you don't have to think. There's no thinking involved. So for a beginner who wants to get used to just using a sewing machine, this is a fantastic project because it gives you a chance just to practice sewing without having to be accurate, without having to worry about, is it a 1/4 of an inch seam I need, or a 5/8 of an inch seam I need, or 1/2 an inch seam, or whatever, and oh, I better not sew it there because I need to put a zip in or a dart in or something. There's no method to this at all. So as a practice run for new starters, just to get used to the feel of a sewing machine and playing around with different stitches and stitch lengths and stitch widths and zigzag and all that sort of thing, it's really, really perfect for beginners. Is this? I love doing projects like this. And also not just for beginners, because sometimes, you know, like when you're an experienced sewer and you've been sewing for a lot of years, a lot of the time you're doing stuff that takes a lot of thought, and sometimes you just want to sew. You don't want to have to think about it. So this is brilliant for that. So I'm just going to just put this on really quickly. I love these projects because I can just relax, you know. I can just sit here all day just doing this. It's so much fun. It really is. I just love it. I once sat at the sewing machine and I was upstairs. I'd set it all up in my bedroom. And because I had everybody living at home then, so I didn't want to take up the living room, you know. So I used to set everything up in my bedroom before the days of having a craft room, which I haven't got now, and that's another story. I'll have again one day, hopefully. I may just leave that because I actually like the look of that. Let me just sew that down. I really like that. I know it doesn't look professional, but it looks, to me, I like that. It's just like a little tag, isn't it? I love it. So yeah, I used to have a craft room. I don't have one at the moment. Hopefully I'll get one again in the future. But my spare bedroom that I use as an office is also a bedroom for when my stepdaughter's here. So I don't want to turn that back into a craft room, because when she's here at the weekend, I do want her to be comfortable and have her own bedroom. Her and my daughter used to share a room because my daughter's got quite a big room, and they used to love sharing when they were younger. But then as they got older and wanted kind of their own, although they get on really well and they're really close, they also wanted their own space as well. So I took all my craft stuff out of there and put it all in the loft and made it back into a bedroom, because it used to be my son's bedroom years ago. And it was a craft room. So then I've turned it back into a bedroom for my stepdaughter now, so that she has her own space when she's here, you know. And one day there's going to become a time, isn't there, where the kids don't need the bedrooms anymore. So it will be a craft room again in time, won't it? All in good time. So let me just... So for now, I'm kind of everything in the loft, and I just get things that, well, my husband does. My husband gets things out as I need them, so that I can do different projects at different times. It's just hard because I could have done with making a birthday card this week, and I've just not been able to because I haven't got everything to hand. So I can't just grab something and make a birthday card. So it pains me, but as a card maker, I'm going to have to go and buy a birthday card. So that's what it's looking like at the moment. Absolutely love it. So I'm just going to carry on with this, friends, and then I will come back to you when I've finished putting all these pieces on. And we'll put the bookmark together. We will actually make a bookmark out of this, or maybe 2 or 3 bookmarks out of this. So I'll be back shortly. So friends, I've just finished off just popping a load of scraps on that. And as you can see, I've not even scratched the surface of those scraps at all. So those will make, they'll go back in my scrap bag for another day. And another project. So this has still got a few little loose ends, as you can see, but that's not a problem. I'm going to get this material that I haven't ironed yet. It's fine. It's fine. And I'm just going to add this onto the back and then cut it down. Now you could have put this on the back in the first place and sewn all the 3 layers together at the same time. That would have been okay. But what I would have done is I wouldn't have used the quilt batting, wadding, whatever you want to call it. I would have used a fusible interfacing like I used with the last bookmark, and I would have ironed the backing onto that. So that is another alternative that you can think of. But because I just had this scrap batting that I wanted to use up, I'm just doing it this way. But there's no, like I said before, there's no wrong way at all. Just as I turn the camera off, this machine, by the way, I don't recommend it. So I've got no affiliate links or anything like that to this machine. It's the Brother FS180QC. I don't recommend it. I don't get along with it very well. And there's some raving reviews online on this machine. I know so many people that love this model. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. It's a right diva. So yeah, just as I turned the camera off, this started having a right hissy fit. It jammed up. It was making some awful noises. It was like, what on earth? I'm just trimming the ends off so I know where I'm sewing, guys. Just tidying those edges up. That's all I'm doing. There we go. Yeah, it started having a right hissy fit with my machine. Oh, it was making some awful noises. So I took all this bit apart, give it a good clean, rethreaded it. Still wasn't working, so I took the thread out again, rethreaded it again. It was like, oh my days, what is wrong with this machine? It was having a right fit. So, yeah. I was just sewing that loose side down, I think, just to tidy it up a little bit. Just to make it easier when I come to just trim it down. So I'm just trimming this edge off now, as you can see, just to tidy it up. And then, yeah, rethreaded it. I give it a good clean, rethreaded it, did all that sort of thing with it that you do when your machine starts playing up. I still wasn't happy. I thought, oh goodness, what am I going to do? So I took everything apart again, put it all back together again, rethreaded it. I still kept coming up with this funny noise and clanging. I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to post on my community and tell everybody that I'll get this video, you know, I was gonna get a video up, and I'm gonna have to put it off for a day or so. Anyway, on the next attempt it actually started working fine, so I thought, oh good, I can carry on doing this video for people, my lovely friends. But there was a moment there where I thought, oh dear, am I going to have to invest in a new sewing machine? Because this one doesn't like me. Which it really doesn't like me, this sewing machine. It doesn't. And it's supposed to be put through the paces because it is actually for quilting. So this is, you know, a sewing machine for quilting. It's what it's made for. So I don't know why it was kicking off with me, because they can be very temperamental, can these sewing machines these days. They're not made as well as they used to be, I don't think. I used to have a manual sewing machine. This is computerised. And I used to have a manual sewing machine years and years ago. I don't particularly like manual now after having a computerised. I do find computerised sewing machines a lot easier. But that manual sewing machine I had, oh, it was 20 years. It lasted me 20 years. It was a right workhorse. Right workhorse it was. It was brilliant. Loved it. I did loads of projects on that when the kids were little. So I'm just going to go around the edges for now. Just sewing this backing on. And now we're just going to tidy this up with my pinking shears because I forgot to bring my normal scissors down. Now we will eventually be cutting through some of this stitching because we're going to be cutting it down to like a bookmark size, if you will. But we will be sewing over and over and over, so don't worry about it. We're doing lots of stitches, so it'll be fine. More scraps for the scrap bag. Absolutely wonderful. And there's nothing to say you have to do a straight rectangle for your bookmark. You can make your bookmark any shape and size. It really is up to you. You could make it into a funky shape, couldn't you? Like an animal shape or something. Be really cool, that. Okay. These, my friends, will be going in the bin. Like I said to you the other day, that's where I draw the line. So, before I go any further, I'm going to cut it down to the size I want it. And do I want that, or do I kind of want it there like that? So I've got, but yeah, I do. I'm going to cut it down to there, I think. Yeah. And then we're going to go up here, so it's just a tad wider, just to get some of that other colour fabric in at the side. Now, with you cutting those edges with pinking shears, those edges should not fray now. They should not fray at all. That is a bit wonky though, Samantha. That is really wonky, that. Just tidy that edge up a little bit. So, we will cut a few of these out. So we could have another one, say, that's a bit short, isn't it? I do want some of these lovely colours included, you see. So let's just go here. Obviously, you will cut this out neater than I'm doing. I'm just doing this as quickly as I can for the camera, so this video isn't too long a video. And then I might just do one sort of like right in the middle there. I love that idea. Right, let me just do that then. Tidy, because I've not put a ribbon on these, have I? I suppose you could attach a ribbon after. And then put your backing on after so that you can put a ribbon in it. Ooh, let's get rid of that. Just for now. I will make another bookmark out of that. It will not go to waste. I think you've probably gathered that there's not a lot in this house goes to waste or goes into landfill. I mean, I probably just won't bother with that. You know, it's all good. So what I would actually do now, I will start with this one because there's more loose little bits sticking up than there is on the others. The others are pretty flat, although I really don't like that edge. I do need to tidy that up. Okay. So what I'm going to do, let me just get rid of those bits there. Yeah, that's just not straight, Samantha. It doesn't even look straight. Just tidy it up by eye. That's a bit better, but goodness. There we go. So all I'm going to do is just do some zigzags with my bright orange cotton that I really don't like, that will just add a dimension to this. To get it used up, which zigzag should I use? Let's try 6. Let's have it a bit wider and a bit longer, just for that extra fun. And you can just go down the seams if you want to. Let's try that, shall we? And then we're going to turn it round and go down here. Oh, I'll go a bit further actually because I want to get to the bottom of that piece down there. There we go. And then we'll go up there and maybe around the edge. Maybe across the top. Make whatever patterns you want. Get down this loose piece of fabric that's sticking out a little bit. Back down again. Okay, and then we'll just go across here. And then we'll probably go down this side. And then we'll probably just lift the needle up, make the stitch a different size and carry on down this edge. Just to make it that little bit different. Go along this edge. So you can see what I mean when I say about this being great for beginners, just to play around and get used to different stitches and get used to the machine really. If they've just got a machine and they're a bit nervous, I'd just chop some scrappy fabric up, put a backing on it, put something in between just to give it a bit of structure, and I'd just sew lots of different stitches. What I would suggest though is putting a ribbon at the top, just so you're defining, or a tassel at the bottom. You could actually make a beautiful tassel, which I will probably do with these, and I'll make a beautiful tassel coming off the bottom of this bookmark, and just hand stitch it on just at the bottom in the middle. So you've got a beautiful tassel with lots of different ribbons and colours, or even wool. You could use some scrap wool up to make a tassel. Absolutely beautiful, just to the bottom of that. And then obviously I'll go and sew these over the top as well, and just make these, finish these off with the top stitching. So friends, I do hope you like these, because I know some are going to love them and some are going to say, no, I don't like them. I know that they're not for everybody, but I think they make good gifts, you know, like stocking fillers. Or you've just got maybe a friend or a colleague who's just a little bit down at the moment. You could just make something like that for them, like a little bookmark if you know they like reading. And just take it in from and say, thought this would cheer you up, put a smile on your face, because they are fun. That's all they are. They're just a bit of fun. They're not to be taken seriously by any stretch of the imagination. But I love things like this. I think it's so different, so unusual. And it's a really good way to use your scraps up so that these scrap ends are not going into landfill. They're getting used. And that has got to be good, hasn't it? It's got to be good. I know it's this, what I'm using 100% cotton, I know that, but not all fabric is 100% cotton. We've got all sorts going into landfill now, haven't we, that we need to avoid. We need to try and stop putting things into the landfill, make use of things. And I just love little things like this. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Sending love and hugs to all of you, and thank you for joining me today. For now, goodbye, God bless, take care, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.